Welcome to tonight's sleep story. Let's drift into a soothing story together as you begin your journey into a restful and rejuvenating sleep. You stand alone in a vast white expanse, the snow stretching endlessly before you, while the cold breath of the forest brushes against your skin. The trees, their branches heavy with frost, whisper in the chill of the wind. You take a deep breath, and the sharp, icy air fills your lungs, sending a shiver through your body. The crisp scent of wet earth mingles with the fresh aroma of pine needles, carried by the wind that dances softly through the branches above. Each step you take is marked by a soft crunch as your boots sink into the snow, leaving behind a trail of footprints that quickly begin to fill with drifting flakes. The sound of your movement is muted by the thick blanket of snow, the world around you silent except for the occasional rustling of branches and the faraway murmur of the wind. As you walk, the air grows colder, pressing in on you, and the vastness of the land seems to swallow any thoughts of the world outside. The trees loom around you, their skeletal branches reaching into the gray sky like ancient arms, bare and brittle against the winter's hold. The landscape is stripped of its usual vitality, everything wrapped in the quiet, cold embrace of the coming season. The sun, low on the horizon, casts only the faintest light over the snow, giving everything a pale, ghostly glow. You can see your breath form in the air, a faint mist that quickly dissolves in the frosty stillness. The forest ahead feels endless, a vast, frozen wilderness that stretches far beyond your reach. With each step, you feel the weight of the cold pressing deeper into your bones, seeping through every layer of clothing. The world is silent, save for the occasional sound of distant birds. The landscape before you is both haunting and beautiful, snow-covered. Trees, ice on the branches, and the thick, unbroken white that blankets the ground. You keep walking, the path beneath you becoming more difficult, your legs tiring with the deep snow. The chill is sharp, biting at your skin, but it is not just the cold that weighs on you. It is the stark realization that winter is no longer just an inconvenience. It is a force of nature that demands respect, a cold truth that cannot be ignored. The village is ahead, nestled at the edge of the woods. But as you move closer, you feel no comfort in its presence. The houses are huddled together, smoke curling up from chimneys, the warm light of fires flickering inside. Yet, even with the warmth they promise, the air outside is thick with a sense of impending struggle. Winter is coming, and it brings with it more than just the bite of cold. It carries with it the threat of scarcity, of survival against the harshest of elements. As you near the village, your breath quickens, not from exertion, but from the realization that winter is here. The cold seeps deeper with each step, and even the thought of returning to a warm fire seems distant. This is not just a season. This is a challenge, trial of endurance that everyone in this village, in this land, must face. The sun is slipping away now, the light fading quickly, and soon the darkness of the long winter night will descend. In the midst of the frigid landscape, the world seems to pause, waiting, holding its breath. You feel the weight of winter in your very bones, and yet there is something strangely beautiful in it, a quiet understanding that this cold, this silence is a part of the natural rhythm of life. As the last rays of sunlight fade, you find yourself standing on the edge of the village, looking out into the snowy expanse. The wind whispers through the trees, and the cold wraps itself tightly around you. Yet you know that this battle, this struggle against the cold, is not just one of survival. It is a part of something bigger, something that has always been and always will be. The world around you is growing darker, the light from the setting sun barely piercing the heavy clouds hanging low in the sky. You can feel the temperature dropping with each passing moment, and the quiet, almost oppressive stillness of the night settles in. The village ahead seems both welcoming, and distant warmth from the fires inside the homes is an inviting thought. Yet you can't shake the weight of the cold pressing against you, as if the winter itself is trying to claim you as you step into the village. The sight of smoke rising from chimneys and the glow of firelight spilling from windows offers little comfort. You know that the warmth is fleeting. For the rich, the homes are well stocked, the hearths blazing with logs, but for the poor, the coming months will be a test of endurance. Each family huddles together, using the last remnants of firewood, each ember a precious commodity. Each breath you take inside their homes, thick with the smoke of a fire that does little to fight back the endless cold. You walk past the first few houses, each door closed tightly, and you can hear the muffled sounds of family life inside, laughter, the crackling of the fire, the clink of pots and dishes, but it all seems so far away. Inside, the warmth must feel like an oasis in the endless desert of snow and ice outside. But for you, it's a reminder of just how fragile that warmth is. In a distant corner of the village, you come upon a small cottage. The door is cracked open, and through the gap, you can hear the low murmur of voices, the clink of metal against wood, the soft shuffle of feet. You step closer and can just make out the faint glow of a fire inside. There, a family is gathered, a mother, her children, an elderly father. They huddle close, seeking warmth from the small fire in the center of their cottage, their faces illuminated by the soft orange light. The cold has already seeped in through the cracks in the walls, and you can see their breath as they speak, their voices quiet against the fierce winds outside. The food they have is meager: a loaf of stale bread, a few scraps of salted meat, a thin soup made from whatever was left of the previous harvest. There is little to be had for the coming months, and the weight of hunger is heavy on their shoulders. The fields are frozen, and the livestock too suffer from the cold. It's clear that survival will depend on how well they can make the small amount of food last. As you observe them, you begin to understand the gravity of their struggle. It's not just the cold that threatens them, but the scarcity of everything: food, warmth, even hope. In the distance, the last of the sun's light fades, and the darkness of winter encroaches on the village. The cold is no longer a passive presence. It is something to be fought, something that leaves no room for softness. The reality of living in the medieval world, where every day is a battle for survival, becomes all too clear. You continue walking through the village, each house offering its own small story of endurance. There is the sound of a father chopping wood with slow, deliberate strokes, his breath misting in the cold air. Another family sits around a table, their hands wrapped tightly around the meager bowls of soup in front of them, their faces drawn with the knowledge that these could be the last meals of the day, or even the week. In the face of this hardship, there's no room for luxury, no time for idle pleasures. Each movement is calculated, each action driven by the need to survive the next day, the next month. The cold is not just a physical presence, it's a constant companion, a relentless adversary that forces every family, every individual to adapt, to endure, and to fight. Yet, despite the grim reality, there are moments of resilience. You see them in the soft smiles shared between the children as they play quietly by the hearth, in the way the mother tenderly brushes the hair from her daughter's face, in the way the elderly father murmurs stories of better times to distract the children from the hunger gnawing at their bellies. There is a quiet strength in the way they exist together, a bond forged in the harshest of environments, where survival is not just a personal fight, but a shared struggle. As the night deepens, you realize that for many here, the cold and hunger are constant threats that loom over every waking moment. Yet there is something more, something that keeps the villagers moving forward. It is the knowledge that no matter how brutal the winter may be, no matter how dark the days, they are not alone. They are bound together by the unspoken understanding that survival depends on each other, on the shared warmth of community, on the quiet promise that no one will face the storm alone. The village, like the winter itself, is vast and unyielding, but the people within it, resilient, steadfast, and united, are the ones who will weather it. And though the cold may be unrelenting, there is always a spark of warmth to be found, if not in the fire, then in the hearts of those who refuse to let the darkness take them. The darkness of the night deepens, and the village seems to grow, quieter, as if it too is preparing for the long, unyielding winter ahead. The wind outside howls, a constant reminder of the unrelenting cold that grips the world. But inside the homes, there is a different kind of stillness, a sense of calm amid the chaos. The hearths burn brightly in every cottage, flickering and crackling with warmth, offering the only refuge from the biting cold. The firelight dances across the walls, casting long shadows that seem to stretch across time itself. In one corner of the village, a small gathering has begun. It's the feast of St. Stephen, a day of rare joy in the midst of winter's cruelty. For a fleeting moment, the rigid social hierarchies of the medieval world are forgotten. The Lord of the village, a stern and imposing figure, has stepped down from his place of authority for the day, replaced by a peasant chosen to be the Lord of Misrule. The title, though symbolic, carries with it a burst of freedom, a brief reversal of roles that allows the lowest to rule the day. The villagers gather, filling the small hall with laughter and the sound of music, the crack of wooden mugs clinking together in celebration. The festivities are simple, but for those who participate, they are nothing short of magical. There is food to be shared, perhaps a roasted goose, a few loaves of bread, a pot of thick stew made from whatever was left of the previous harvest. The air is thick with the smell of roasting meats and spiced wine, filling the space with warmth. You can hear the clatter of dishes, the laughter of the children, and the occasional burst of song from the older folk. The joy is infectious, and for a moment, the harshness of winter seems to fade away, replaced by the warmth of shared humanity. As you stand at the edge of the gathering, you watch the faces of the people around you. The lines of weariness are still present, etched deep into the skin of those who have endured the long months of cold and hunger. Yet, in this moment, there is something more, a light in their eyes, a spark of something that cannot be extinguished by the cold. It is a resilience, a quiet defiance against the harshness of the world. They are not just surviving, they are living in whatever small way they can. You feel the energy of the crowd shift as the Lord of Misrule stands and raises a glass. His voice rings out louder than the wind outside, calling for a toast to survival, to community, to the enduring spirit of the people. For a moment, there is a sense of unity that transcends all the hardships they face. Here in this hall, they are more than peasants, more than farmers, more than workers. They are equals, sharing in a moment of fleeting joy that has been made possible by their collective effort to endure the winter together. As the night wears on, the celebration becomes more raucous, the music louder, the laughter more boisterous. But even amidst the chaos, there is a sense of reverence, a quiet acknowledgement that this is not just a feast, but a testament to their ability to endure. The harshness of winter will return tomorrow, and the work of survival will resume. But tonight they can put down their burdens, if only for a moment, and celebrate the strength that has carried them through the darkest days. You find yourself drawn into the circle, a part of something greater than yourself. For just a little while, the cold that wraps itself around the village feels distant. The hunger that gnaws at the bellies of the children seems less urgent. There is only the warmth of the fire, the sounds of laughter, and the knowledge that, despite everything, they have made it through another day. And then, as the night stretches on, the fire begins to burn low. The shadows in the corners of the hall deepening. The warmth from the hearth grows faint, and the songs fade into a quiet hum. Yet, even as the feast comes to an end, the spark of hope that it ignited lingers in the air, a promise that, no matter how bleak the days ahead may be, they will not face them alone. The cold outside is still there, as is the weight of winters. Hardships. But tonight, in the flickering glow of the hearth and the warmth of shared joy, you understand that it is not just the fire that keeps the cold at bay, it is the unbreakable bond of community, the human spirit that refuses to be snuffed out by the darkness. And that in itself is a flame that will burn through even the coldest of winters. The night falls deeper, and with it, a quiet settling over the village. The sounds of the feast have quieted, and one by one, the homes are engulfed in the stillness of the long winter night. The fire in your hearth flickers low, casting soft, dancing shadows against the walls. The warmth is fading, but there's something comforting in the way the embers glow, a reminder that even in the harshest of winters, warmth can still be found, however fleeting. Outside, the snow continues to fall gently, the landscape a sea of white under the pale moonlight. It is as if the world has been wrapped in a soft, frozen blanket, waiting for the arrival of the new season. The wind still howls in the distance, but within the walls of the village, there is an unspoken understanding that despite the cold and the hardships, this winter, like all others, will eventually pass. You step outside, feeling the cold air. Bite at your face, the crispness of the snow beneath your boots crunching as you move. The village is silent, save for the occasional sound of distant winds, the soft rustle of snowflakes falling from the trees. Everything feels still, as though the world is holding its breath. Yet, beneath this quiet, there's an undeniable sense of something new on the horizon. In the village square, the ancient oak tree stands tall against the sky, its bare branches reaching out like skeletal arms to the heavens. The once vibrant leaves are long gone, replaced by the white blanket of snow that now covers everything. You look up at the sky, the deep expanse of dark blue dotted with a pale glow of stars. The cold is biting, but it's a reminder that the earth is still turning, that despite the desolation of winter, life is waiting to return. For the villagers, this is the time of quiet anticipation. The signs of spring are subtle but present. The days have begun to lengthen, the sun's rays growing stronger, even as they remain weak and distant. The snow may still blanket the ground, but beneath it, the earth is slowly warming, waiting for the first signs of new life to emerge. The anticipation builds quietly within you like a seed buried deep in the soil, waiting for the thaw dot as you walk through the village. Your breath forms a mist in the cold air, and you can't help but wonder how much longer the grip of winter will last. The distant horizon offers a glimmer of hope, the faintest sign of the returning warmth of the coming spring. The promise that no matter how hard this winter has been, no matter the suffering and the sacrifices, it will come to an end. The frost will melt, the fields will awaken, and the first green shoots will push their way through the soil. Eager for the light, the village is preparing for the eventual arrival of that moment. The elders talk about it with reverence, the old rhythms of the land, the rituals of planting, the blessing of the first plow. Soon, the men will begin their work in the fields once again, plowing the frozen earth, turning over the soil that has been dormant for so long. This time of preparation is sacred, a quiet reflection of the land cycles and the deep bond between the villagers and the earth that sustains them. The first signs of spring are still far off, but they are there, nestled in the hearts of the people. The tiny buds that have begun to form on the trees, the lengthening days, the subtle warmth that lingers in the air as the sun sets. These are all reminders that, though the winter may seem eternal, it will eventually pass dot as the days begin. To grow longer, the village stirs with renewed energy. The final preparations for the coming season are underway. The men sharpen their plows, the women prepare the seeds for planting, and the children, though still weak from the long winter, begin to venture out into the snow, their faces lit with the first hints of excitement for the days ahead. The snowdrops begin to appear at the edge of the forest, tiny white flowers that push through the frozen earth, defiant and beautiful in their simplicity. Spring is not here yet, but the promise of it is enough to carry the village forward. The bond between the villagers grows stronger with each passing day. The struggles of the past months of cold, hunger, and isolation have not broken them. Instead, they have brought them closer together, reminding them that the true strength of the human spirit lies in its resilience, in its ability to endure, and in its unwavering hope for better days ahead. You return to the warmth of your home, the flickering hearth welcoming you with open arms. The fire is still burning low, but its warmth wraps around you like a comforting embrace. The night stretches on, but you know that the long winter months are drawing to a close. There is still a battle to be fought, still challenges to overcome, but the village is ready. It has endured, and now it waits for the first signs of spring, the first green shoots that will emerge from the cold earth, a symbol of life's ability to thrive even in the harshest of winters. Dot in this quiet, sacred moment. As the night deepens and the stars shine down, you feel a sense of peace. The winter may be long, but it is not forever. And with that thought, you drift into sleep, knowing that when you wake, the world will be one step closer to the warmth of spring. The first rays of dawn break through the cold silence of the night, gently warming the frozen earth. The sky, once a deep shade of navy, slowly transitions to a soft, muted blue as the sun begins its slow ascent over the horizon. It's still early, and the village is still wrapped in the embrace of sleep. But the air is different today. There's a subtle shift, a new energy that hums through the village like an unspoken promise. You rise from your bed, the warmth of the fire is still flickering in the hearth. The cold of the night lingers in the walls, but the promise of morning brings a fresh breath of life. As you step outside, the world feels softer, quieter. The snow, which has blanketed everything for months, is beginning to lose its sharp edge. The harsh lines of winter are beginning to soften, replaced by the quiet beginnings of something new. The ground beneath your feet is still frozen, but there are signs, small, almost imperceptible, that the thaw is coming. The air is crisper, not as biting as it was in the depths of winter, and the breeze carries with it a whisper of spring. You notice the trees, their branches, still barren, are showing the faintest hints of buds, as if they are slowly waking from their long, cold slumber. The once rigid, lifeless limbs now seem to stretch, reaching toward the sky as though gathering strength for what's to come. There's something sacred in this moment, a quiet reverence for the earth's slow, rhythmic process of renewal. The harshness of winter has not disappeared, but there is a subtle lightness in the air, a sense of release, like the world is exhaling after a long, held breath. You take in a deep, steadying breath yourself, feeling the cool air fill your lungs and invigorate your spirit. The earth may still be sleeping, but you can sense its pulse, its quiet anticipation for what lies ahead. The village, too, stirs with the promise of the changing season. In the early morning light, the figures of the villagers appear, moving about with quiet determination. The men gather at the edge of the fields, readying their tools for the day ahead. The plows, which have remained dormant throughout the cold months, are brought out and inspected. The farmers, their hands calloused and worn from years of labor, prepare for the first turning of the soil. The work is hard, the earth still cold, but the strength of their resolve is palpable in the homes. The women begin their morning chores, tending to the fire, preparing the meager breakfast, gathering what little food remains. The children, those still weary from the long months of hunger and cold, begin to stir as well, their faces lighting up with the first signs of the change in the air. It is a quiet but powerful transformation, one that happens every year, but each time it feels like a small miracle. The slow but sure return of life to the earth is a testament to the resilience of nature and the human spirit as the sun climbs higher in the sky. Its rays begin to thaw the edges of the snow that still clings to the land. The crisp, cold air begins to soften, and there is a sense of optimism that fills the space between the buildings. People begin to gather in the village square, exchanging greetings, sharing news of the coming season. There is an unspoken sense of excitement in the air, a shared knowledge that, despite the hardships that have come before, the land will once again yield its bounty. You take a moment to stand still, to close your eyes and listen. The village, is alive with quiet anticipation, the clatter of tools, the rustle of clothing, the soft murmur of voices. The world is stirring, awakening from its long winter's sleep. Even the animals feel it. The cows move restlessly in their stalls, the horses whinny softly as if eager to return to the fields. The birds chirp a bit louder in the trees, their songs breaking the silence of the dawn dot. There is a feeling of unity in the air, a shared purpose as the village prepares for the season ahead. The hardships of winter have not been forgotten, but they are fading, slowly replaced by the hope of renewal. The bonds between people, forged in the crucible of hardship, are now stronger than ever. There is a quiet strength in this moment, strength that comes from surviving the winter, from enduring the cold and hunger, from holding on to the promise of spring. You walk through the village, your footsteps light and steady. The fields ahead are still covered in snow, but you can almost hear the earth beneath, ready to be tilled. The promise of new life is in the air, and you can feel it in your bones. Spring is coming slowly but surely, and with it comes the hope that after all the trials and struggles, new life will emerge once more. It is a gentle, steady promise, one that has existed since the beginning of time, a reminder that no matter how harsh the winter may be, spring will always follow. The thaw is not immediate. The cold still lingers, but with each passing day, the warmth grows stronger, the light brighter. And with that light comes the promise that no matter what challenges lie ahead, the cycle of life will continue. The seeds will be planted, the earth will be nurtured, and once again, the world will come alive. And as you stand there, watching the first faint signs of spring stretch across the land, you know deep in your heart that no matter how hard the winter, there is always hope, always renewal. You feel the weight of that hope, that resilience, settle deep within you. This is the strength of life, and it will carry you through whatever comes next. The world is waking, and so are you. The days grow longer, and the light of the sun feels warmer, though still tinged with the faint chill of winter's lingering grip. The first whispers of spring are no longer just a distant thought. They are present now, slowly and quietly changing the face of the land. Each morning, as you wake and step outside, the world feels a little different, a little more alive. The air, once so sharp and biting, now carries with it a softness, a hint of warmth that seeps into your skin and settles in your bones. The snow, which has covered the ground for so long, is beginning to melt away, revealing patches of brown earth beneath. The familiar green shoots of spring, so eager to push through the soil, are starting to show their faces, their tender stems pushing upwards as if in defiance of the lingering frost. The earth, once cold and barren, is awakening from its long frozen sleep, slowly, gently, but with unmistakable intent. You walk through the village once more, the ground beneath your feet softer, the snow thinning into little more than patches of ice along the roadside. The air smells different now, no longer filled with the sharp bite of winter, but with the fresh scent of damp earth and the faintest hint of blossoming flowers. The birds, once silent against the cold, now sing more freely, their songs full of life and joy. The sound is like a melody woven into the fabric of the morning, calling forth the arrival of the new season. The villagers are beginning their work with renewed energy, each person taking part in the great seasonal rhythm of life. The men and women gather to begin preparing the fields for planting. They walk with determination, their hands steady as they prepare the tools for the long, laborious task ahead. The plows are dusted off, the horses are hitched to the heavy wooden beams, and one by one the fields are tilled. The soil, still damp from the melting snow, is soft and rich with promise. You can hear the rhythm of the work, the steady thud of the plow striking the earth, the grunt of effort as the villagers labor together, the soft murmur of voices as they encourage one another. There is a quiet satisfaction in this work, a sense of purpose that fills the air. As the land begins to open up, you can almost feel the earth breathing, stretching, preparing itself for the seeds that will soon be planted, even in the quiet moments when the plows are put aside and the villagers take a break from their work. There is a sense of peace that hangs in the air. The fields, once barren and covered in snow, are now filled with life. The earth seems to hum with potential, as though it is ready to burst forth with the promise of new growth. The warmth of the sun, still gentle but growing stronger each day, caresses your skin as you stand there watching the work unfold. The village, too, feels different, more connected, more alive. The harshness of winter has been replaced by the quiet resilience of spring dot as the sun begins to dip low in the sky, casting long shadows over the village. You can feel the day's warmth slowly slipping away. But there is no fear in this change. The evening, just as the day, is part of the cycle, a gentle reminder that after the hard work of the day, rest is needed to prepare for the next. The village settles into the quiet of the evening, a sound of families gathering for their evening meal, the flicker of firelight casting warm golden glows through the windows. The work is far from over. The days ahead will be filled with long hours of labor. The earth will require much care and attention before the first crops can be harvested. Yet there is a calm satisfaction in the knowledge that the worst of the cold is over. The warmth of the sun has returned, and with it, the hope of a new season, full of possibilities. As you sit by the fire, your body still tired from the day's work, you realize that the world around you is not just coming alive, it is transforming. The earth, with its steady rhythms and quiet strength, is teaching you something profound, that growth takes time, that life has its cycles, and that the harshest winters always give way to the gentlest springs. You close your eyes, the warmth of the fire surrounding you, and take a deep breath. The quiet peace of the evening settles over you, and in the stillness, you can almost hear the earth beneath your feet, whispering of the life that is yet to come. The season of rebirth is here, and with it, the promise that life will always find its way. The morning sun rises earlier now, its warm golden light spilling gently over the village. The fields, once dormant and covered in snow, have begun their slow transformation. The earth, tender and soft, is awakening with each passing day. You step outside, and there's something new in the air, a quiet energy, a pulse that stirs beneath the soil, beckoning the first signs of life to emerge. The ground beneath your feet, though still cold, is no longer frozen solid. You feel the softness of the earth with each step, a subtle change that promises new beginnings. The scent of damp soil fills your nostrils, and for the first time in many months, the air is filled with the unmistakable fragrance of renewal. The trees that once stood bare and skeletal against the sky now show the first hints of budding life. The delicate green of new shoots stretches towards the sky, eager for the warmth of the sun. The village is alive with activity as the farmers, with their hands still calloused from the long winter months, continue their work in the fields. The ground is prepared, the seeds are planted, and the cycle of life begins again. The rhythm of the plows, cutting deep into the earth, is steady and unyielding. Each furrow is a promise, each seed a hope for the future. As you watch, you realize how deeply connected the people of this village are to the land, how every action they take, every movement of their hands, is a testament to their faith in the earth's ability to renew itself. There is a quiet joy in the work, a sense of purpose that fills the air. The people of the village are united by the common goal of survival and growth, working side by side in the fields, their movements synchronized in the dance of life. You can hear their laughter, their conversations, their words of encouragement as they toil under the warm sun. There is an unspoken bond between them, a shared understanding that despite the hardships they face, they are here together, preparing for the future dot. As you walk through the fields, the sounds of the village fade into the background, and you are left with the deep, rhythmic pulse of the earth itself. The soil is rich with possibility, each grain of earth a part of the great cycle of life. You can feel the warmth of the sun on your skin, the light breeze ruffling the edges of your clothes, and the promise of growth in the air. The land is awakening, and so are you. The village has come to life in a way that mirrors the land's awakening. The houses, once cold and lifeless, now feel full of potential. The hearth fires burn brighter, the food tastes fresher, and the laughter of the children rings through the air as they play outside. The harshness of winter, though still a lingering memory, has been replaced by the soft warmth of spring. There is a sense of lightness in the air, a sense of freedom, as if the weight of the past months has been lifted and the world is ready to begin again. The evening comes softly now, the sun lingering longer in the sky, its light casting a warm glow over the village. The day's work is done, and the village settles into its evening rhythm. The sounds of the day fade into the quiet of the night, but there is still a hum of life beneath the surface, a quiet energy that continues to flow ever forward, ever. Renewing dot as you sit by the fire, the warmth of the flames flickering against the cool evening air, you feel a deep sense of peace. The world outside is changing, slowly but surely, and so are you. The land, the village, and the people all are growing. All are waking up to the possibilities of the future. And as you close your eyes and listen to the quiet crackle of the fire, you know that no matter what the coming days may bring, the earth will always find a way to renew itself, to bring forth new life, to offer hope in the midst of struggle. Spring is here. The land has awakened, and so have you. And as you drift into sleep, you carry with you the quiet certainty that life will continue, ever forward, ever changing, and always renewing. The first rays of sunlight filter through the small cracks in the window, casting a gentle glow over the room. The warmth of the morning sun, still soft but growing stronger each day, enters the space like a quiet promise. You stretch, the comfort of your bed wrapping around you like a warm embrace, reluctant to let go of the night's calm. The air outside is still cool, but there's something unmistakable in the way the earth feels different now. A shift in the atmosphere that speaks of life, of growth, and of the endless cycle of renewal that surrounds you, you rise in step. Outside, your feet meeting the soft earth. The once frozen ground is now pliable and eager for the touch of the sun. The land is no longer trapped under layers of snow, but alive with the sounds of growth, new shoots poking through the soil, the whisper of wind in the trees, the soft hum of bees that have begun their search for the first flowers of the season. The village is waking up too. The homes once tucked away in the cold stillness of winter now seem to pulse with quiet activity. Smoke rises from the chimneys, and the smell of fresh bread and cooking stew fills the air, a sign that the long months of scarcity are slowly coming to an end. As you move through the village, you see the familiar faces of your neighbors older, men and women tending to their gardens, children running and playing with laughter that rings clear in the crisp morning air. They are all here together, working and living in the moment, no longer just surviving the harsh winter, but embracing the promise of the new season. The earth is no longer a frozen enemy to be feared. It is a living, breathing entity that sustains and nourishes, offering its gifts to those who care for it. You stop for a moment, taking in the quiet beauty of the village and the surrounding landscape. The fields, freshly plowed and ready for planting, stretch out before you in neat rows. The trees, once bare and lifeless, are beginning to show the faintest green, their buds swelling with the promise of new life. The air smells of damp earth and fresh grass, the very essence of spring. The ground beneath your feet is soft now, the hard edges of winter smoothed over by the passing days. And as you breathe in deeply, you can feel the strength of the earth beneath you, the resilience of the world that continues to turn, no matter the seasons that come and go. The farmers are busy in the fields, their movements steady and purposeful as they plant the first crops of the season. The rhythmic sound of the plows cutting through the soil fills the air, a steady and reassuring beat that signifies progress, growth, and hope. It's a hard physical labor, but there's something almost sacred about it, the way the earth is transformed by the touch of the hands, the sweat of the brow, and the knowledge that these small, simple acts are what will sustain the village. Throughout the year, you watch the farmers work, the sun warming your skin, and a quiet peace settles over you. This is the beginning of something new, the quiet triumph of renewal. It is not grand or dramatic, but it is enough. The earth has woken up, and so have the people. The hardships of winter are behind them, and ahead lies a future full of possibility. A future where life will continue to grow and flourish. Just as it always has done as the day goes on, the village comes to life in ways big and small. The children, their faces flushed with excitement, begin to explore the world outside with newfound energy. The elderly, who have spent the long winter months inside, emerge to sit in the sun, soaking in its warmth. Even the animals, once huddled close together in the barns, are more active now, their movements more lively, as they stretch and wander the fields, reveling in the return of spring. It is a time of new beginnings, of fresh starts, and of quiet, humble victories. The harshness of winter is still a memory, but it has been replaced by something softer, gentler, the steady, comforting rhythm of life moving forward. You stand still for a moment, feeling the warmth of the sun on your face, and for the first time in months, you feel the weight of the world lift from your shoulders. The earth and the people upon it have endured the winter, and now, as spring takes hold, They are ready to embrace the future. As the evening approaches, the village gathers once more, this time for a quiet celebration of the day's work. There is no grand feast, no lavish celebration, but there is a shared sense of accomplishment, a recognition that they have made it through the hardest part of the year. And now they are ready to move forward together. The firelight flickers in the hearths, casting a warm glow over the faces of those gathered. The sounds of conversation, of laughter, and of music fill the air, creating a sense of unity, of togetherness. It is in these small moments, in the quiet rhythms of daily life, that the true strength of the village is found. It is not in grand gestures or dramatic triumphs, but in the simple, everyday acts of survival and renewal. The village, like the earth, has weathered the harshest of winters, and now it is ready to thrive. Asterisk, as you sit by the fire, the warmth of the flames wrapping around you like a comforting embrace, you know that the season of renewal has truly arrived. The earth has awoken, and with it, so has the promise of a new beginning. You close your eyes, feeling the weight of the day lift from your body, and as the fire burns low, you drift into a peaceful sleep, knowing that the world is alive again, and spring has truly come. The sun rises earlier each day, now fully asserting its place in the sky. The gentle light spills over the village, warming the earth with its touch, coaxing the soil to life. There is a different quality to the morning now, something softer, something warmer. The cold grip of winter has finally loosened, leaving behind only the faintest memories of its harshness. In its place, the earth stirs with renewed vigor, and you can feel that change in every step you take. The fields, once barren and covered in snow, now hum with the promise of new life. And there is a quiet excitement in the air. As you walk through the village, the sounds of the day are already beginning. The farmers, having risen with the sun, are working with steady determination in the fields. Their plows move rhythmically through the earth, carving neat lines in the soft, freshly thawed soil. The smell of the earth, rich and dark with the promise of new growth, fills the air. The first crops have been planted, their seeds carefully nestled into the soil, awaiting the sun and rain to nourish them into life. The earth, once cold and unforgiving, is now a partner in this journey, offering its bounty to those who tend it with care. The villagers move through the day with a sense of purpose. The children, eager to be outside, run through the village square, their laughter ringing through the air. The women, too, are busy, gathering herbs from the garden, preparing meals, and ensuring that the work of the day is shared among them. There is a sense of unity in these simple actions, a quiet understanding that this is how life will continue, through the small acts of care and cooperation that bind the community together. You find yourself pausing for a moment to watch the work unfold. The village is alive in ways that it hasn't been for months. There's no rush, no frantic hurry, but instead a steady, harmonious rhythm that echoes the pulse of the land itself. You can feel the promise of abundance in the air, not just in the planting of crops, but in the energy of the people. There is a sense of calm in knowing that the worst of the winter is behind them, and the future, though still uncertain, is full of possibility. The village is not large, but it has always been a place of resilience. It has faced many winters, many struggles, and yet each time it has found a way to survive. The people here are strong, not because they are invincible, but because they understand the cycles of life, the ebb and flow of seasons. They know that nothing lasts forever, not even the harshest of winters, and that with patience, with hard work, with trust in the earth and in each other, abundance will come. The sun climbs higher, its warmth growing stronger, and the world around you seems to come alive with every passing hour. The birds that once stayed silent in the cold are now singing, their voices rising in a joyful chorus that fills the air. The flowers that have been hiding beneath the earth are slowly pushing their way through the soil, their petals unfurling to greet the light. The trees, too, have begun to show signs of new life, their branches now budding with fresh leaves, ready to soak up the sun's energy and begin the cycle of growth anew. You take a deep breath, the air rich with the scent of blooming flowers and fresh earth, and you feel a sense of peace settle in your chest. This is the promise of abundance, the quiet assurance that, despite all the hardships, life will continue and it will thrive. The earth will give its gifts, and the people will receive them with gratitude. It is a simple, unspoken truth, but it is enough dot as the day draws to a close and the sun begins its descent behind the hills. You watch as the village settles into its evening rhythm. The fields, now dotted with the first signs of life, shimmer in the fading light. The firelight flickers in the windows of the homes, casting soft shadows against the walls. The day's work is done, but the sense of accomplishment lingers in the air. The people of the village have worked hard, and soon they will rest, knowing that they have done what they can to prepare for the future. And as you sit by the fire, the warmth of the flames wrapping around you like a familiar embrace, you reflect on the journey of the seasons. The earth has not just come alive, it has been transformed, and so too have the people. In the face of cold, of hunger, of hardship, they have persevered. And now, as the warmth of spring fills the air, there is a deep sense of fulfillment that comes with knowing that the promise of abundance is no longer just a distant hope, but a reality unfolding before them. You close your eyes, the soft crackle of the fire lulling you into a peaceful state. The world outside is full of potential, full of promise, and as you drift into sleep, you carry with you the quiet knowledge that life, like the seasons, always finds a way to begin again. The land has been renewed, and so too has the spirit of the people. And with the coming of spring, there is nothing left to do but wait for the harvest, knowing that all will be well, and abundance will be theirs once again. The first days of summer stretch out before you like a promise. The warmth of the sun is no longer a gentle caress, but a steady presence, filling the days with its golden light. The air is thick with the scent of freshly mown grass, of blooming flowers, of the earth in full bloom. It is a time of abundance, a time of growth, and as you walk through the village, you can feel the rhythm of the season and everything around you. The fields, once barren and frozen, are now thick with crops. The wheat stands tall, its golden heads heavy with grain, swaying gently in the warm breeze. The vegetables in the garden are bursting forth plump tomatoes, vibrant carrots, lush green beans, all thriving in the rich soil that has been tended with love and care. The villagers move through the fields with purpose, their hands busy harvesting the bounty that the earth has offered. There's a quiet satisfaction in their movements, a sense of pride in the knowledge that their hard work has borne fruit, literally and figuratively. The air is filled with the sound of busy hand shears, snipping through the thick stalks of wheat, baskets being filled with the ripe harvest, the soft rustle of leaves as they are shaken free of their fruits. You see the children running through the fields, their laughter ringing through the air as they help gather the harvest, their faces lit with joy and excitement. The elders sit in the shade of the trees, watching over the work, offering quiet words of wisdom and encouragement. This is the culmination of months of preparation, the long, cold winter that felt like it would never end. The early days of spring, when the soil was still frozen and hard, the painstaking work of planting, tending, and waiting. And now, as the sun beats down from above and the land is heavy with life, the village is experiencing the reward of their labor. You walk through the fields, your feet sinking into the soft earth, and you pause to take in the sight before you. The crops are thick and healthy, their leaves a deep, vibrant green, the fruits and vegetables bursting with color and life. It is a feast for the senses, the smell of ripening fruit, the sight of the land heavy with harvest, the sound of laughter, and conversation as the villagers share the joy of the season. It is a moment of triumph, a moment to celebrate the resilience of the earth and the strength of the people who have cared for it. There is no grand celebration, no feast or parade to mark the harvest. Instead, there is a quiet, humble satisfaction that fills the air. The work is not over. The crops must still be gathered, preserved, and stored for the months ahead. But there is a sense of peace, of fulfillment that comes with knowing that the village will survive, that the people will be able to eat, to live, to thrive. The hardships of the past are still fresh in the minds of the villagers, but now, with the harvest at hand, there is a deep, reassuring sense of hope. As the evening draws near and the sun begins to sink low in the sky, the fields begin to cool. The heat of the day giving way to the soft, gentle breeze of dusk. The last of the day's work is done, and the villagers gather together, their faces tired but content. There is no grand banquet, no lavish feast, but there is a shared sense of joy in the simple act of being together. The fire burns brightly in the hearths of each home, casting flickering shadows on the walls, and the smell of roasting meat and fresh bread fills the air. The village settles into the quiet rhythm of the evening, the sounds of the day fading into the background as the night takes hold. The work of the harvest is not yet complete, but the sense of accomplishment, of hope, fills every corner of the village. The promise of abundance has been fulfilled, and with it, the knowledge that no matter what the future may bring, the earth will always provide for those who care for it. You sit by the fire, the warmth of the flames wrapping around you like a comforting embrace. The village, the fields, the people, they are all a part of this cycle, a part of something greater than themselves. The harvest is not just a reward, it is a reminder that life, though unpredictable and harsh, will always return to itself. The earth will always find a way to grow, to flourish, to renew. And in that renewal, there is hope, there is peace, and there's life. As you close your eyes, the quiet crackle of the fire lulling you into sleep, you carry with you the knowledge that the harvest is more than just the fruits of the land. It is the harvest of hope, of resilience, of life itself. And as the world continues to turn, so too does the promise of renewal, always waiting for the right moment to bloom again. The air has begun to cool again, the summer's warmth giving way to the Christmas of fall. The days are shorter now, and the sun, once high in the sky, is lower, casting long shadows over the village. The harvest is nearly complete, and the work that has occupied the village for so many months is winding down. The earth, still rich with its bounty, is slowly preparing itself for rest. But in the midst of this transition, there is a profound sense of peace, of completion, a sense that the work of the year has been done, and now the world turns toward a quieter, more contemplative time. You walk through the village, the sounds of the day muted in the cool air. The crops have been gathered, the stores filled for the winter months. The last of the hay is stacked in neat piles in the fields, the remaining fruit carefully stored in cool, dark cellars. The work has been hard, but now there is a quiet satisfaction in knowing that the village is prepared, that the people have enough to eat, enough to survive, enough to carry them through the long, cold months ahead. There is a different kind of energy in the village now, one that reflects the changing season. The men and women once busy in the fields now turn their attention to other tasks, repairing fences, mending tools, preparing for the coming winter. The fires burn brighter and longer, their warmth filling the homes and hearts of the villagers. The children, though still full of energy, are beginning to settle into a quieter rhythm. Their laughter now accompanied by the occasional yawn as they prepare for the colder nights ahead. The land itself, too, seems to be winding down. The leaves of the trees, once a deep green, have turned shades of amber and gold, falling gently to the ground, creating a soft carpet beneath your feet. The air smells of wood smoke and earth, the last remnants of the summer's heat now mingling with the cool, crisp breeze that blows in from the north. The world is settling into its natural rhythm, the pace of life slowing, the work of the year complete dot as you sit by the fire. The flames dancing and crackling in the hearth, you reflect on the year that has passed. The hardships of winter, the challenges of spring and summer, the tireless work of planting, harvesting, and sustaining life, all of it has led to this moment. The earth has been kind, the village has been resilient, and now there is time to rest, to reflect, to be still. The quiet of the night settles in around you, the world outside wrapped in the soft hush of autumn. The sky, once filled with the bright light of day, is now a deep, velvety blue, dotted with stars that twinkle softly in the clear night sky. The moon, now high above, casts its gentle light over the village, illuminating the rooftops, the trees, and the fields in a silver glow. The sounds of the day have faded away, replaced by the soft rustling of the wind through the trees and the distant call of an owl in the woods. It is in these quiet moments, as the world slows down and the seasons change, that you find peace. The work of the year is done. The land has been tended, the harvest has been brought in, and now there is time to rest. The rhythms of nature, the rhythms of life, are constant, unyielding, and though the seasons change, they always return, each one bringing its own unique gift. As the fire burns low and the night deepens, you settle into the warmth of the hearth, the soft crackling of the fire lulling you into a peaceful state. The earth outside is quiet now, the world resting, preparing for the cold of winter. And in the stillness, you feel the cycle of life, the continuity of nature, and the promise that no matter how harsh the winter may be, spring will always come again. In this moment, You understand that life is not just about the work, the struggle, or the harvest. It is about the rhythms of the seasons, the quiet moments of rest, the reflection, and the renewal. The world will continue to turn, the seasons will continue to change, and the promise of new life will always be there, waiting for the right moment to bloom again. And in that quiet knowledge, there's peace. The first frost has arrived, soft and silent, laying a delicate layer over the earth. The days grow shorter still, and the sun, though still present, now hangs lower in the sky, casting longer shadows across the village. The land has settled into its final rest before the cold of winter truly takes hold. The fields, once full of life, are now bare, the earth covered in the quiet remnants of the harvest. The trees, once full of green and gold, now stand bare, their skeletal branches reaching up toward the sky like ancient arms. Inside the homes, the fire still burns brightly, its warmth a welcome companion in the chill of the evening. The people have settled into the rhythm of the season, their movements slower now, more deliberate. The harvest has been gathered, the stores filled, and the work of survival has been done. Now there is time to rest, to reflect on the year that has passed, and to prepare for the coming winter. The village is quiet now. The usual sounds of work and laughter are muted by the cold. The children, once full of energy and play, now gather close to the fire, their small faces glowing in the warm light. The adults, too, are still, their bodies tired from the hard labor of the year, but there is a peace in the stillness. The world outside may be cold and dark, but inside there is warmth. A quiet refuge from the harshness of the world. As you sit by the fire, watching the flames dance and crackle, you feel the weight of the year settle in your bones. The hardships of winter, the struggles of spring, the long days of summer. Each season has passed, and now, at the close of the year, there is a quiet satisfaction in knowing that the village has survived, that the people have endured, and that life will continue. You close your eyes for a moment, the warmth of the fire wrapping around you like a comforting blanket, and you feel a deep sense of gratitude for the land, for the earth that has given so much. The soil, the trees, the animals, they have all contributed to the village's survival. And now, as the earth rests beneath its blanket of frost, there is a sense of completion, of harmony. The work of the year is done, and now there is only the quiet, peaceful waiting for the return of spring. And in this waiting, in this stillness, there is a deep knowing that life will always find a way. The seasons will change, the earth will renew itself, and with each cycle, there will be a return of warmth, of growth, of hope. Just as the earth has rested, it will rise again, ready to offer its bounty, ready to begin the cycle anew. As the fire burns low and the night grows deeper, you feel your own body relax, the tension of the year slipping away. The world outside may be cold, but inside there is warmth, there is peace, there is hope. And as you close your eyes, the quiet rhythm of life continues to play, softly and steadily, a reminder that no matter how harsh the winter, no matter how long the night, the return of spring is always just around the corner. With that thought, you drift into sleep, knowing that the world will always find its way back to life, and that you, too, will rise again with the coming of the new season.